All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Colman Power Organic Fitness Podcast. I have my latest guest here in front of me, Mairead, most certainly the wonderful organic grower based in most certainly Ring, Port Larga, that's County Waterford in Irish. Say hello to the listeners, Mairead.
Well, guys, comes the whole shift. All
Oh,
right. Hey,
oh, Mahan Colleen.
Gailing
Um,
a gahainio Sulagum.
oh, geez,
I'll be
you.
me clear foulum Lakela.
I tell you what, I didn't know that you were fluent in Gaeilge.
Well, it's Gael Gourmet. Yeah, Kinta. I got the
Very good.
Irish, dude.
Geez,
Yeah.
if I can speak Irish, we can do the full podcast on it, but that's only one of us.
Next year's challenge, maybe. We'll
Oh
go
my
again.
God. Oh,
Asquilga.
yeah, we'll definitely throw a couple of focal in there, that's for sure. Mairead, I brought you on, I suppose, as a superstar, wonderful guest that you are, particularly in, I suppose, what you're doing right now, being an organic grower based in Waterford and producing the highest quality of, I'm going to say, fresh greens and any other vegetables and fruits for that matter. And I want to, I suppose, you to let the listeners know a little bit about, I suppose, your background and anything else, and maybe how we met on top of that.
Yeah, perfect. So I have a lengthy background in healthcare. So I worked in hospitals in countries around the world delivering healthcare as a nurse originally, and then I retrained to be a physio. And in 2017, I took a career break and I ended up deciding that I needed to go back to nature to heal because I had a lot of life things happened as they do for all of us at some point, and I decided I need to be in nature. So I did a permaculture design certificate in Clough-Jordan was my number one thing to do. And then number two, I joined the distance learning horticulture level 5 in Drumcolliher Organic College. So Paula Pender was one of my mentors at the time. And at the same time, I was given advice that I needed to go and immerse myself in horticulture to learn about how to grow food and do it well. And Jim Cronin's name came up. So I emailed Jim, and sure enough, February 2018, I jumped up and lived in Clare for 8 months, working beside and learning from Jim Cronin. So I had a great time. I was only a week in the job, and I decided that this gardening weekend came up on my radar up in Renville Hotel in up west
Wow.
in Mayo, and the likes of Klaus Leitenberger, Joy Larkham, Katie Scully, and we had Anya from the head gardener in Kylemore Abbey showing us her garden as well. And the first person I met at the bar having my food was yourself, County Waterford man. I went on my own, you went on your own, and we ended up meeting on the night it all opened up, and it was just a magical weekend of learning from amazing people.
Hmm.
So really lovely introduction to that side of horticulture as well.
I suppose,
Um,
would have been your previous background been, after I suppose spending time in healthcare, been something and anything? Did you have a lot of knowledge prior to, I suppose, starting?
Not really, to be honest. So I grew up in a dairy farm. I milked cows. I was picking stones from the age of 7, 8. I was out hunting cattle and standing in gaps with bulls coming at me, not knowing what to do. Just do it, stand there, and you'll be fine. But yeah, I had experience of farming, but in dairy farming, and then I went away and travelled the world, saw loads of different types of agriculture, rural areas in the world, but working in healthcare specifically. And I guess for me, the healthcare side of things, I noticed there was a big gap in prevention and a lot of focus on firefighting the issues that were coming up that could have been prevented before they started. So my kind of passion has always been health promotion and that side of things in healthcare, and looking for an angle to do that. So I was always saying on my journey, like I wanted to travel the world, which I did. It was an amazing time. I lived in places like Sudan and India and New Zealand. Like I had an amazing time and saw so many things and met so many amazing people. But the healthcare side of stuff, I just was disappointed in the angle it was taking all the time. In relation to that, that you're firefighting, you're trying to put a plaster on something that's broken up before you go and figure out a way to prevent it happening in the first place. So for me, my journey then kind of was mental health with life events that happened, and I needed to take a break from looking after people. And within that, then the nature was calling. And I decided I needed to learn how to not murder herb plants from supermarkets anymore and really learn how to grow food in the ground. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who's had that problem in the world as well. But I realized then when I went on the start of that journey and kind of unpicked it a bit and immersed myself in it fully then with Jim and Claire, that this was something that was tangible, that I could make a business out of. And an opportunity came up with land in County Waterford, where I'm from, at home in Ring. And I asked, could I use a piece of land that was a haggard for 30, 40 years, nothing done with it. And I've turned it into a growing space. So yeah, luckily I was able to pull together a business in 2021 and I set up my farm Garrai. So converted organic last year, and I'm commercial, selling the fresh local food to County Waterford area mostly. So I'm in Dungarvan, Ring, Waterford, Tramore, and this summer I was in East Cork and Castlemartyr as well. So just spreading a little further afield, testing the waters. But I'm also pregnant this season, so I'm actually due a baby in 4 weeks' time. So that's
Oh
been
my
another interesting
God.
curveball.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Amazing.
thanks. Yeah. So I'm growing a baby and food this year. It's been exciting, you know. Yeah, and it's all
Oh,
seemingly working out well together. So
that's so nice. Yeah. I'd
yeah,
love you to, I suppose, even expand on what type of projects, because some people wouldn't even know, and more so, what's like this is recorded in September, it'll be going out in September. What's literally the foods that are in season in Ireland right now? We're literally chatting about literally the sun makes a massive difference, all right? We haven't had
yeah.
enough
Oh
of
my
it.
goodness. There's been sweetness in the stuff I'm eating the last week with the sunshine that's came. Like it's lovely. The green beans are sweeter, the tomatoes are sweeter. Like there's just a nicer flavor coming off things. The sun just makes everything shine inside and out. But I have two tunnels, so I've tunnel crops going all summer, and they've actually been. It's been a better summer than most. Funnily enough, with the weather we've had. Unusually, I'm yielding very well. The amount coming out of the ground is incredible. But I have tomatoes, green beans, courgettes, basil, onions and garlic. And then outdoors, I have a range of salads, spinach, chard, all the brassicas, so cabbages, cauliflower, broccoli, red cabbage is coming now soon as well. Kohlrabi, it's one of my favourites since last year. I've been growing it.
German turnip.
And then cavolo, kale, baby turnips actually I tried this year as well, just quicker crops, you know, for turning over beds and things like that in the commercial scale.
Yeah.
And then also I have a massive plot of squash, so summer squash, winter squash, and they're flying, and they're all going to love this sunshine as well now.
Yeah.
So for Halloween and stuff, there'll be lovely jack-o'-lanterns for kids to eat, hopefully, as well as make things out of. And then I've lovely different varieties of culinary squash that will be all going out the gap in the next few weeks as well. So really excited about that. And this weather is the best for that kind of ripening that needs to happen, you know. Yeah.
And you have, I suppose, having then to go or sell at farm gate, or you going to country markets on a regular basis. I just, I suppose, as listeners tune into this, it's about identifying where you are and where they can get their hands on, as you said yourself,
Yeah.
sweeter produce. And that's because, right, organic produce, and we're going to talk about that. I'm going to ask you, what's the difference between organic and conventional?
Yeah, so for me, like I went down the organic route immediately because I believe in the system of it. I like the structure, I like the accountability, and I like knowing that my land is being looked after well in terms of not killing it or destroying the biodiversity that's already here and attracting better biodiversity. And actually, I've never seen the likes of the range of insects and wildlife that are coming in and out of the farm since I took over here. Um, but yeah, so the veg is all under organic certification. I'm with the Organic Trust. Had my inspection today. I think I was telling you that. Um, all good. So you just have to have your ducks in a row, your paperwork done, your receipts and invoices, and your crop rotations all documented, the whole lot, and just hand it over. And they look at it and see if there's any mistakes anywhere, and that you're definitely following the procedures you're supposed to be. And I like that, actually, coming from a healthcare background and everything's policy documented. You know, I'm used to that kind of admin side of things, so that's good for me. But in terms of nature and health and where that's all going, I really feel organics is the way forward for our health, especially, like, knowing that you're eating good quality, healthy food for your microbiome, for your gut, to help your mental health, help your body physically. And the veg that comes out of organic is definitely, in my opinion, far superior to the non-organic conventional stuff that doesn't last 2 days inside in your fridge. I'm
No, and
getting
it's on.
feedback from customers saying that the veg is lasting like 7 days, 10 days, and they can't believe it. They haven't seen anything like it, you know, and that's the difference. Like there's nothing added to it.
That's it.
So for customers, I'm selling to Dungarvan. Dungarvan in County Waterford is an amazing town for supporting local, for health conscious people, for foodies. They love food, and good. They know good quality food in Dungarvan. So we have an amazing range of local veg shops. So there's Conor Lannan, the country store, Ballinacurty Farm Shop, Lynch's Greenhouse. And then you have the smaller artisan places like Dune Bakery. They're doing amazing artisan sourdough. They take food from me. You've got amazing restaurants and pubs. The local is a guy from Ring, Donegal, and he's got amazing food coming out of his place. So I'm in there as well. Mary's Gastro Pub have been with me from the beginning. They're farm to fork ethos. And then Eask is another ring related restaurant business, and they're also just after opening up this summer again, doing lovely fish, and they've got our veg in there as well, so it's great. And then Waterford City, we've got our Keen Quality Food Store. They're the best, and they're known around the country. Like they support and they nurture artisan local products, you know. So I'm with them since I started the business in 21 as well, selling everything this year: salads, spinach, tomatoes, green beans. The whole lot is going down there. And then Seagull Bakery, another amazing sourdough, artisan food, heritage grains, fully immersed in local and everything local and healthy and organic as well. So I've got lovely customers. I couldn't be in a better place for the business I'm doing, because it's been nurtured by the customers around me, you know.
Yeah,
So really
totally.
lucky with that. Yeah.
I'd love to even, I suppose, when you say salads, people say, "Oh God, is that rabbit food?" And me myself, I used to say that for a period of time when I was in my young teens until I started getting into growing and actually tasting the difference. So salads are not just salads; they're actually completely different than the ones that are coming into season right now. We have the Oriental salads, and they're coming from the mustard seeds and the mustard family that have that benefit
Mm.
of those antioxidants, sulforaphane that's found in broccoli. But broccoli for most people takes a hell of a lot longer to grow. So you name out the ones that are in your mixed salad bag going into the likes of the winter months.
So for me, like I always say, my favorite product that I grow is my winter salad mix. It's my favorite. It's the best and most nutritious, healthiest, varied plate of food you could eat on your plate for the whole of winter. Like the American Gut Health put out a study there a couple of years ago, and they studied thousands of people on gut health and the microbiome, and they recommend you have 30 different plant varieties a week for gut health and mental health, right? Winter salad alone, you could have 10 different varieties in one plate. That's ticking the box for one salad, one time a week. You know what I mean?
I love
Mine
that.
I've got sorrel, vitamin C. I've got winter person and your omega-3s. I've got different leaf varieties, so 3 or 4 different leaf varieties, and they're full of vitamins. Chard, vitamin B's in there. And I have lamb's lettuce, wheat, and I then have rocket as well, and I have some of the Orientals, Mizuna, Nemenia, that kind of stuff. So you could have 10 or 12, as much as you like, different types of leaves in that salad mix, and all it needs is a squeeze of lemon and a bit of olive oil, and you're done, and you're happy days, you know.
Everyone should be adding in more and more greens to their diet. Okay, as you said, the likes of your gut health is massively boosted by that. But remember the
Mm.
fact that 70% of your immune system is located there. So just adding a plate of greens to your dinner
Mm-hmm.
or your lunch, for that matter, and then you can also make smoothies with it, depending on what you want to do. But there's no disadvantage, definitely, to adding greens to your diet, and especially if you're getting from yourself. That again will be local, that'll be organic, that'll be the finest
Mm-hmm.
and the freshest that you'll ever get, and last so much longer. There's loads of people say, I buy healthy food sometimes from whatever discount stores they currently get them at, and they put them into the fridge, and half it turns to mush at the end of the bag.
Yeah, so I actually have a potato starch compostable bag. That's one of my tricks for keeping it lasting longer as well. It's breathable. I don't like plastic, and I don't want to be engaged in plastic as a producer. I actually did one of my projects on the horticulture course on the industry and how much plastic we use, and the devastation of plastic in the world, basically what's happening. So I found a product. It's not cheap. It doesn't make my business could be making a bit more money if I went for plastic instead, but I choose to go for this product instead, and I'm happy with it. But it's breathable, it doesn't have soggy leaves in it, and then the leaves themselves coming straight out of the ground into the bag and onto the shelf in the fridge, like they just last for a long time. It's amazing. Someone came back to me there recently and said they had them for 2 weeks and they were still good. It's just amazing what the quality of just from the ground into the shelf in the shop, and they just have an amazing lasting quality that's full of nourishment.
It's uncomparable, and it's one of those main reasons why you're literally harvesting it and you're bagging it that day. You could have greens that literally haven't harvested that day, but if you don't,
Half of it's going down my gob before it goes anywhere, actually.
I
You're
used
having
to
your
do.
breakfast, you're harvesting. Have you heard of the glucose goddess, actually? I know
No,
you're big
please.
into all that. Have you not? Yeah, have a look her up. She's advocating for it's all about metabolic syndrome and managing your risk of diabetes. So she's an Instagram account called the Glucose Goddess. I have her book here that I got at Christmas time, but she recommends that you eat your fiber first. Okay, so you eat your greens first, and then you add your protein, your fats, and you eat your carbohydrates last. And what that does, it removes the effect of the insulin spikes in your blood system. And overall, you have a better management of reducing your risk of diabetes and metabolic syndrome and all the kind of stuff that comes after that, like heart disease and all that. Like, she's amazing. But she recommends you have a bunch of green in the morning, which is what I do every morning. Go out and get a salad bunch, and you put a little bit of cider vinegar on it, or just normal any kind of white wine vinegar, or whatever your vinegar is that you put in your salads, and you put it all in together, and it just helps to relax all the acids in your stomach. And then you put your fiber in first, and it controls your release of sugar to the system. So you can eat any kind of cake after that, and you're fine, apparently. So that's great as well.
Oh my God, the listeners'
Yeah,
ears have now just pinpointed in
yeah,
the
yeah.
right direction.
Look her up. I'd say you'll appreciate her. She's amazing. The research she's showing.
Oh
Yeah,
my God. Yeah. I would have previously known to eat the likes of, again, prebiotics, which is naturally given to us. Okay. Salads
yeah,
are an option on a menu when we go out. So that's why it's given first to aid in digestion. All greens are full of,
yeah.
and they're high in prebiotics, which is one of the things that
Exactly.
feed
Yeah,
your beneficial gut bacteria. So it's all
yeah,
these
yeah,
small things, and getting this type of information out to people to go, oh my God, knowing why things are good for you makes it much more likely to people to do it instead of going,
yeah.
oh, eat greens, they're good for you. Now they know why they're good for them.
And broccoli as well is a superfood. Broccoli is so I joined the Masters in Organic and Biological Agriculture there in Setu back in January, and we did a module in food health and nutrition, and broccoli has come up again and again. I'm involved in women's health as a physio still as well. So I teach a bump room class in Dungarvan for pregnancy fitness. So it's great for my pregnancy to be doing that. But as part of that, we do a lot of education around nutrition in pregnancy, nutrition postnatally, and pelvic health as well, which is huge for bowel health and stuff like that. But broccoli is one of the superfoods that reduces your risk of cancer, but it also has so many. It's a prebiotic as well, and it's got so much goodness in it. So I've been eating broccoli soup for breakfast since my new crop of broccoli have come in, and it's the most amazing. And it's part of the glucose thing as well. The glucose goddess's advice, put the greens in first. So I feel like I'm on super juice, going around the place like full of
Oh, you
energy,
are.
and feeling
And
good.
your energy levels are great. And that's just a realization that often
Yeah,
people mention to the likes of any grower, whether it's me or you, they go, Jesus, I'd love a little bit of what you're doing. What are you doing? We are eating greens first thing in the morning.
exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's
And that's
unreal,
the
isn't it?
difference.
Yeah,
It is unreal.
yeah,
And even more so,
yeah.
we'll go specific. Eating greens that haven't been sprayed with the likes of harsh chemicals, because that is
Mm,
one of the main
mm,
differences between the likes of conventional and organics. And when you're getting it
mm,
local, it maximizes the benefits of it. And that's the whole idea of this show here today, for you to, suppose, and us to get this information out to the general public.
mm, mm. Totally, yeah. And also, like to say that reducing your food miles and all the environmental effects that has on everything as well, just being conscious about that, and supporting and nurturing local businesses. That's the way forward, and communities coming together. I've never felt so involved in a community than I do now. And I'm from here, like I'm in my 40s. I was 17 years away, came back, and I couldn't find my feet for ages. But I started a business 3 years ago, and I know more people. I've connected with so many more people now for doing what I'm doing. It's a real community thing. Providing food to the community brings the community together. Like, it's unreal. and just seeing that in real time is just an eye opener for me. I really feel like it's such a healthy and positive thing, you know. So it's not just the benefits to your body, it's actually the benefits to your mental health, the benefits to the community, the local area. So many people benefit from just doing that, you know. Yeah,
You're helping more.
connections.
You're helping more people's health now than you ever realized. Every single
Mhm.
day, you're literally saving people's lives and
I think
improving their mental health.
I think for me the passion would be to have health promotion as number one, but also to spread the word that it's not difficult to do and everyone can do it. Like you're doing the grow your own courses, which is amazing. I think everyone needs to be growing their back garden. I'm actually a tutor in Mount Congreve School of Horticulture at the moment, teaching fruit and veg module for level 5, and I started that in May, so it's just for the season at the moment. And geez, I just love it. Like that's where I see the future, is teaching people you can do this as well, and it's so easy. Just pick up a few bits and pieces, grab a few seeds, throw them in the ground, and off you go and eat it
Yeah.
and learn from it. It's amazing. Like
Oh, it is.
it's
But
so good. Yeah.
we've nearly lost touch with where food comes from. We're looking for convenience. We're stopping at the petrol stations, and at the end of the day, there's nothing convenient about being sick and ill and tired and lethargic and all
Mhm.
those things that follow on from that.
Yeah, I know. It's just too easy to it's too easy to switch off and go to the convenient food and all that kind of stuff. But actually, when your eyes open to what health means to you, when it comes to your door, that's when you start changing your behaviors and looking at ways of doing things differently, because you want to live longer, you want to change up what happened to you and improve and be positive about the future, you know. So I think it takes something in your life to turn your head to actually go to that direction and then pursue it, you know. So it's yeah, it's not easy for everyone to see this road, but actually it is there for everyone, you know. It's tangible. We just have to help people to see it's there and reach out for it, you know.
And
Yeah.
education is massive, and I'm glad you even brought
Yeah.
that point up. A lot of people have lost touch where food kind of comes from, and they don't understand. Like our
Mm,
parents or our grandparents everybody used to have spuds in their backyard. Everybody.
that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Like it's 2 generations ago for me, my grandmother was selling food to the same customer I have, Lynch's. She was
Yeah.
my aunts were telling me, oh, we used to be sent into Dungarvan on whatever day to bring in the onions to Mrs. Lynch, and now they're my customer, you know. 2 generations later it's back, but we're not too far away from that knowledge, you know. That's what I mean. I feel like I never did horticulture, I knew nothing about it till 2017, but I have something in me that remembers, you know. There's some knowledge there, there's some basic instinct that I have, and I think everyone has it because we're not too far removed from that life, you know.
Yeah. We're all designed to be healthy, and we're all designed to be outside, and it's actually just getting people to do exactly that.
Yeah, for sure. Spread the word.
Yeah,
Keep
and that's
spreading the positivity.
oh, you couldn't stop me.
I know, yeah, you're great. Well done, you. Like, yeah, you're flying the flag.
Yeah, flying the green flag, and just again, my whole emphasis will be for more and more people to eat local, to eat fresh, to eat foods that are not only beneficial for them but also beneficial for the environment. And that's organic, that's local, and that's why I promote the likes of yourselves or anyone else who's growing for that matter. And it's the small things that really do help, right? You don't have to have every single thing organic, because some people say, oh, that's very difficult. Okay, it is. But the thing is about adding in one more today and just see the difference in your health as you progress through. It's a journey. Life is a journey, and health is a journey as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Small steps, like, and not overthinking it and over complicating it. Like, it's very simple. Nature is simple, and we need to be simple with it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
keep it simple. Yeah.
Can you tell me, and I suppose everyone else, in relation to what are you using then to grow these unbelievable fruits and vegetables, whether it's the tomatoes, your outside courgettes and squashes, or your basil, or anything else that's growing a tunnel that you have yourself?
Yeah, so I have my methods and my inputs that I have kind of that work well for me. So green manures is my top thing actually. I use green manures. Green manures are crops that are put in to keep the soil living. So
Yeah.
living soil, so the microbiome in the soil is kept alive. So I never leave soil bare. I'll always have something in it between rotations as part of my organic system. I use farmyard manure from local farms, so they get delivered in when I can get someone to do it. I'm a small farmer, they're not always available. You have to really plan ahead to get that done. And then with the organic regulations, they have to be sitting here for 3 months, so I have to make sure I'm planning well in advance to get that quantity I need in. I have a local amazing, there's a spa down in Ring called Salos Namara. So they have seaweed baths down there, and they are collecting fresh seaweed for their baths, which is in seawater, and people go in and they'll have a lovely bath, and then they're finished with the seaweed. They normally used to drop it back to where they collected from, so full cycle. But I got in touch with them in 2018 when I started cultivating the ground here, going, I'd love some of your seaweed if you want to drop it to me instead. So they get a box of veg, and I get their seaweed regularly, and it goes into the farmyard manure. It gets turned in, and it's a lovely addition with micronutrients for the ground with that as well. And then my old veg that comes out of the ground all goes into the mix. It's all turned and regularly watched. The temperature is going up to make sure the seed, weed seed is out of it and all that kind of stuff, and it's safe. And that's applied to the land then once or twice a year, depending on the bed and what's needed. And otherwise, it's green manures in the ground. And I then use amendments from Fruitful Farm, would be one of my suppliers that I get, liquid seaweed and chicken manure pellets and stuff like that as well. So it's all organic, but mostly I have local stuff coming in, and it's a local mix, and plus the in-house stuff, and that goes back in the ground. So people that come to volunteer with me, or I had a social farming group this summer actually. So I linked up with Social Farming Ireland, and I linked up with the Solace Cancer Support Centre in Dungarvan, and they sent out a group of women who've just been through treatment actually in the last few months, and they came and spent Thursdays with me. So I had a lovely group of women helping on the farm. It was a magical every Thursday in July. But we got through so much work, I couldn't believe it. I thought we'd be sitting around chatting and it'd be nice and easy, but they actually got a load of work done for me as well. So it was like plus plus, you know. But they were looking at me taking out beds of what I said were spent spinach and salad and different things. They're like, but surely you can still eat this, and they wanted to eat it. And I was going, you can take it away if you want, but for me, I need that bed for the next crop. And that's part of the system I'm in. But I was telling him like nothing is wasted. That stuff goes into the compost, that gets mixed back in. It's all organic. It's all added back into the ground later on in the year, and it's adding to the fertility again, you know. So it's a lovely system that works in the organic system, I think.
Yeah, it's great. As a selfish question here, are you using New Zealand compost or New Zealand's box scheme, kind of a rotation for your compost, or what way you kind of set up?
No, so I'm reliant on a guy with a JCB out the road to come and turn for me. So I haven't set up my box system yet. I had an
Yeah.
area cleared away, but being pregnant, I kind of had to prioritize different things to do and not do this season. So it'll have to be next year instead. My partner's a carpenter. I've no excuse. He can set it up for me, and we'll have a nice system going. But I have like the piles of manure, everything gets added to it, it gets turned, then it gets moved up closer to where I need it to move it in wheelbarrows to where it's going. So I have a nice system, but it's not quite that slick yet. I'm working on it.
Good
It's a
luck.
work in progress.
Too right. Yourself and your partner are busy and occupied on other different events for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Survival.
I yeah. Uh, tip, tip what I found myself doing different New Zealand box composting is to actually add in grass clippings. Okay, there'd be loads of different. I'm going to
We
say,
do as well. Yeah, we have
yeah,
that in it as well. Hmm.
that's one of the things that I find that actually drives up the temperatures to actually kill off those weed
Yeah,
seeds to prevent it being applied then back onto your land again.
yeah. And composting is in itself a whole science that has to be learned and experienced along the way. There's a huge learning curve with that. Like I'm still on that road, you know, and I always will be. And Colin actually did a course with is it the Korean natural farming? Not that one. Knott's had a course on composting with a guy back in May time, June. Um,
That
I
Tom
forget the
Stack.
name of it now. Yes,
I
yeah,
know him
yeah. It
well.
was
I
on
had him
Tom
on the
Stack's
podcast.
farm.
He's a lovely man. I went down to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
farm and everything. Oh,
yeah.
I love him. You love him as well.
But so there's loads of different types. There's so many different. Like I mean, you can do the whole liquid feeds, and we do a little bit of that, like making your own homemade compost liquid feeds and stuff like that. But there's so many different angles you can go in, isn't there? Like, and I don't know what they don't all fit your system, but you just choose what you're able to bring into the system to work for you that year, and that's it. So we'll change it up next year, see how we get on, and it'll always be a work in progress to see what works and what the plants are showing you that they need, what the ground needs, soil tests if you do them as well, and all that information together. But I think observing is what I'm learning more and more, that my eye is becoming attuned to what's happening with the crop in the ground. And that's really special for me because I know that I'm actually tuning in properly with it and understanding intuitively kind of as well. But I wouldn't rely on that alone, you know, but I definitely feel I'm learning so much. Like every year on year, there's something new coming up and something nature throws curveball at you, like the weather this year, and all sorts of diseases and pests happen because of it. And you know that it's just you have to go with it and learn from it. Like, so it's incredible, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nature's incredible, and even more
Oh
so
my
with your
God.
more so what you're doing right now is you're really providing unbelievable quality food for not only your family, the likes of your neighbours and your community. And that's what you're building. You've mentioned you've had so many different events and people and individuals coming and learning and hands-on. And it's not only just the tasting of the food, it's the experience of putting your hands in the soil, getting muck on your skin, which is again the largest organ in your body that's going to improve the likes of your mood. It's the whole idea of connecting back with people such as yourselves or anyone else that's producing high quality food.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it's such a great experience, and it's a lovely environment to be working in as well. You know, I have so much flowers, annual flowers in for biodiversity, and the place at the moment is in bloom and it's beautiful. Like, you know, it's just a really lovely energy to be around. And I actually spend a lot of my days in my bare feet as well, pregnant and barefoot. It's textbook, isn't it? On a farm, like
Yeah,
with
that's great too. It's about getting people
yeah, yeah, yeah,
outside. I'd be a firm believer in
yeah,
grounding. And for people that don't know that, it's literally
yeah.
just walking around bare feet on the likes of the dewy grass or wherever you want to put your feet, whether it's the sand or it's leaves or it's soil. And it just, again, is one of the things that naturally wakes up the body. We don't have to drink coffee.
Oh,
Coffee
it's
is
lovely.
okay. Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
really good
it's
for the overall boost in energy levels. So we've learned absolutely loads in this podcast, Marie. But I want to even just finish up by saying, where's the best place for people to get in contact with you, social medias, and or for them to either call the farm or to a shop? You tell me where people should get in touch with you.
yeah. So produce is available in Dungarvan in the shops I mentioned. So the country store, Lynch's, the Ballinacurty farm shop. And then more locally, the Spar down in Ring will have salad bags as well. To get in touch with me, it's email at info@garraimara.ie, or look on the Instagram page or Facebook page. It's Garrai Mara as well. So GarraiMara. And yeah, contact the farm isn't open for visits actually. It's kind of contact first and go
Of
from
course.
there, you know. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah.
Maria, but I just have to say, firstly, thanks so much for giving me your time and for your unbelievable, valuable information to myself and everyone else that's listening here. And I always end these podcasts by saying, stay tuned, stay classy, and keep it organic.